live.
Wow.
That's the thing. That's the Joe Rogan experience, is live on YouTube, where we talk
Oh,
for 3 hours and we just hang out live.
because we're that interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, we actually might be that interesting.
I just
To be
couldn't.
fair.
I was trying to look up some interview that Joe Rogan had done with a comedian, and I found the YouTube link, and I was like, 3 hours? I mean, come on. And
Who
then you
even
just like,
has 3 hours to spend watching anything?
I don't know. I mean, I listen to things all day, so that
Mm.
part I can understand, but just like watching three men in a room just pontificate about stuff.
Ugh, what were they talking about? What do
I
men
don't even,
care about?
they really went all over the place.
Hmm.
Can we discuss? So you're in a child's closet.
I am, yeah, I'm in my 6-year-old son's closet. Look, here's a kite
That's a cute
within
kite.
arms. It is a very cute kite. It's a dragon. Yeah, I have lots of things within arm's reach, like Pokemon sneakers and whatnot.
Well, I'm subletting a house where a child usually lives, and
You have a Cabbage Patch Kid.
it just so happens that the room in the house with the best audio is their
Uh-huh.
baby's room, because it's where all the stuff is.
Oh
So
my
it's
God.
absorbing. So I've actually been recording all of my podcasts from a crib.
That is wild. And that absolutely trumps me recording all my podcasts from a child's closet.
It
That's,
doesn't.
whoa,
You
what's
see,
on?
Xavier Roberts signs the butt of every Cabbage Patch Kid. And this one in the Sagittarian Matters social distancing crib studios is no different.
Oh my God, that's absurd. It looks like it has a weird tattoo on its butt.
Did you never have a Cabbage Patch Kid?
I did. And do you know what its name was? You know how they come with their names?
Yeah.
You're not allowed to name it.
Yeah.
Some sick fuck in the Cabbage Patch Kid naming office named my Cabbage Patch Kid Adolf.
Come
I am
on.
not kidding you. I had a
What are you
Cabbage
supposed to
Patch
do
Kid
with
named
that?
Adolf.
Did you
And
rename it?
I mean, I didn't know what to do. I just felt like that was its name. And like, I understood that there was like a really bad person in the world whose name was Adolf, but like, I didn't have all the details. I just felt kind of creeped out by my Cabbage Patch Kid.
That name's off the table.
Off the table forever. Who would do that? Who would do that? Like, where in the world would you have to live where you wouldn't have gotten the memo? Like, it
Well,
was very.
we have an episode of Sagittarian Matters where friend to the show Brandy goes to the Cabbage Patch like nursery in Georgia.
What?
It's not like, I mean, maybe Xavier Roberts is German and that's the most common name in the world. I think it's probably not. But
I mean,
there's
if he's German, then like it's even worse.
it's even worse. Anyway,
Okay.
they're from Georgia. They're from a tiny town in Georgia where your kid can go and watch them be born from a magical goddess tree with a bunch of
What?
cabbages at the base of it. And then, someone's like, "Who wants this baby? She was just born." And then you have to basically, if you don't want to, buy one for your kid, you're going to have to like grab your kid and put them in a duffel bag to get them out of there. Cause they're like, "Do you want to hold her? I think she likes you."
Oh my God. That's like, that's more intense than the like Build-A-Bear factory, it sounds like.
I'll send you the link to the episode. I think you would very much like it. She took her little
Oh,
niece there.
it sounds very disturbing. Please send it.
Michelle, the first thing we have to talk about is, so people send me things to taste on the podcast.
You're
It's
so
generally,
lucky.
I feel, it's a blessing and a curse because it's always weird things that people send me
Mm,
to taste on the podcast.
right.
But today I did feel blessed, #blessed, to get a case of Paleo Verde coffee like a cave person, sparkling green coffee with lemon and ginger. Now, I gave you some of this
Yeah, you did.
homework to try.
Uh-huh.
I've only tried it once. I'm going to taste it again live on the air. But I should say a disclaimer is, at some point, Stumptown had a carbonated cold brew and they had a ginger kind. It was short lived. Nobody liked it but me. So it was always on sale. And I really enjoyed a carbonated coffee with ginger. I'll just say, people thought it was an abomination. I said, give me the rest. I'll drink the rest of yours. So I am predisposed to want to like this.
I mean, I think I might be a little predisposed also. Once there's a coffee shop in Glendale that had this iced espresso beverage, and it was like espresso iced espresso with like pineapple and lime,
Yeah.
which it sounded so fucked up. I had to try it and it was amazing. It was really yummy. And there's a really cute little coffee shop near where I used to live in San Francisco called Andy Town. And their signature drink is this thing called the Snowy Plover. And it's espresso with iced seltzer and then like whipped cream on top of it. And I can take or leave the whipped cream, but you know, a carbonated coffee is really, it's refreshing.
Is the place in Glendale, do they still have that pineapple?
You know, because of COVID, I haven't really been by there. I hope
Mm,
that they do. It felt maybe like it was like a seasonal offering. So
mhm.
maybe now that it's getting warm and things are opening up, I should go back by there. We should go
I'll
back
go
by
there.
there.
I'll
Okay,
go there
cool.
with you.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna crack this
Crack it. Wow,
Paleo Verde. I'm gonna
that was a
I'm gonna
great
drink
sound.
coffee like a cave person. It's nice of them to not gender cave. I would just say coffee like a caveman, you know. I don't
Right,
I could see
right.
myself in that. I don't need them to
You
make it
identify as caveman.
yeah,
You don't,
I
yeah.
don't need them to I mean that's nice of them though. Okay, I'm gonna try it, the taste. I don't completely understand the taste.
I thought it was really interesting. Like, okay, first of all, I thought it was very clever that they call it Paleo Verde because it's
Mhm.
green coffee. It's like the whole concept of it is that like the coffee is not roasted. That's what makes it paleo, right? Like paleo foods, like cave person food is never cooked or something, or rudimentary, like just cooked in like the most basic way over a fire that
Yeah.
happened to that could only happen if like lightning strikes something nearby you. You're allowed to cook on top of that fire. Um, I think I found it very refreshing. Now, I mean,
Mhm.
something about me is that I'm always in a state of dehydration. Um, I
You
don't
don't like water.
I don't like water. I try to trick myself into drinking seltzer and I can crack open a LaCroix and like basically get through half a can usually. Sometimes I get very thirsty and you know that I probably should be at the hospital if I'm drinking a big glass of water. It's probably gotten that bad, but I drink coffee all day long. And so it was more refreshing than coffee ever is, especially, um, I mean, even iced coffee. I mean, I never
Mm.
find coffee refreshing. Even an iced coffee isn't necessarily refreshing because I drink coffee black and it's always really bitter. And, you know, I'm basically just, it's just an extension of alcoholism. I'm just putting something in my body for an effect.
Mhm.
So I liked that this was refreshing.
I've never tried green coffee before. I do want to read the poem from the back.
There's a poem. How did
This
I miss
also
that?
came with a zine. Unfortunately, I don't have the zine with me. Before the
Wow.
dawn of time, wine was just grapes left on the vine, and coffee was raw and green, not a roasted thing. Paleo Verde, stronger, cleaner, and tastier than the roasted stuff. No roasting, no sweeteners, and no milk. Just clean, green energy. Paleo Verde by Cobra Verde. Coffee like a person. Wait, let me
I
try again.
mean,
Coffee like a cave person.
person. I mean, I feel like it actually is, it really feels in line with a lifestyle that I adopted about 3 days ago. So this actually really syncs up good for me. Like I just had a reckoning because so many of my clothes don't fit me that I just have been eating nothing but snacks and trash for like a year and barely moving my body. So I'm just trying to like clean it up a little bit. So it really like it's very in sync with my 3 day old lifestyle. I liked the lemony gingery vibe. I found it very bright.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. It didn't have a gross, healthy sweetener aftertaste.
I like
Like
that part.
I like it a lot. Like just, you know, like let something just taste naturally bitter. Don't put a crappy fake sweetener in it that leaves a weird plasticky aftertaste in your mouth. For example, as part of my 3 day old new lifestyle of clean living, I got these healthy popsicles because popsicles really have gotten me through the pandemic. I eat them all day long. That's probably how I'm getting hydrated, actually. So I got these ones. I can't remember what they're called, like, but there's like 75% less sugar, and I got like strawberry chia, and it's like I was like, oh, cool. And I don't know, it's like stevia in it or something, and it just tastes like trash. It's like iced trash on a stick.
I don't want stevia in
Mm-mm, me
anything. I don't
neither.
need it in anything.
Yeah.
Well, so the ingredients of this are just concentrate or carbonated water, fair trade certified green coffee extract, lemon juice concentrate, and ginger juice. I like those things.
Yeah.
I want to know. I also feel like it's refreshing. I
Yeah.
don't mind the taste. Like the taste doesn't remind me of coffee in any way
Mm-hmm.
necessarily. Like I get that it's
Yeah.
coffee's cousin, but it doesn't taste like the coffee I know and love.
Yeah.
Um, I did not drink this yesterday because I've tried it one time and I felt the caffeine was weird to me.
Yes. Same. Okay. So I had it yesterday afternoon. At the point I'd had it, I'd already had 2 cups of French press coffee early in the morning, followed by an iced Phil's coffee mojito that I enjoyed with you, Nicole J. George's. So I'd already had a fair amount of caffeine, and I drank it in a car on my way to pick up a table I found on Craigslist.
Oh yeah.
And I thought, this is great. It'll make me strong and energized to like lift heavy pieces of furniture. And I was drinking it, and I was like, oh, this tastes a lot better than Red Bull. Red Bull is usually my go-to caffeine can. You know, if I need a can of caffeine, I go to sugar-free Red Bull. It tasted way better than that. And I felt like I was looking on my phone. I was talking to my boyfriend, who also has his own review of this drink, if you're interested.
I'm curious.
I took notes. But I was like looking at a calendar being like, oh, we're going to go on this trip together. Here are the dates I've planned. And suddenly I just felt like a crazy tweaker. Like the dates were scrambling themselves before my eyes or something. And I felt like all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, I feel crazy right now. I think I have to stop talking. It was weird. It came on suddenly and it was kind of tweaky, but it wasn't like, you know, when you get caffeine poisoning and you want to die and you want to pull your skin off your body. It wasn't like that. It was a cleaner way of feeling scrambled.
I felt like it didn't give me the sharpness that I feel when I drink when I drink like a cold brew. Like if I have something important to do, like I'm teaching or giving a talk and I drink a cold brew, I feel mentally sharp and like ready to go and I have so many ideas. And this made me feel less sharp. It was more like something coming in from the sides.
Yes, that's such a good way to put it. It wasn't like the full body coffee caffeine experience.
No,
it was like mental or something.
So I felt actually afraid to drink. Like this morning, I was like, well, maybe I'll drink it as my morning coffee before the podcast. And I was like, I don't think I can afford to. Well, I just was like, it's my brain is used to caffeine in a certain way, and this is giving me caffeine in a different way.
Totally. I mean, as a total caffeine addict, don't you find, I mean, perhaps you found yourself, you know, in a European country or something, forced to drink like espresso in the morning instead of, you know, like a French press? And doesn't even that shift in caffeine make you feel a little addled?
Yes. But I have found when I'm in those situations, the espresso flows so freely that
you just keep drinking it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on. I have to plug my computer in. I realized that when I tripped over the cord, it unplugged it.
Oh no.
Here's a brief intermission for you to gather your notes from TJ and think about your final review. Hold on really quick. Now everybody can see I'm wearing shorts in the crib.
That's a great crib outfit you're wearing, Nicole. There's your butt and your manicure. Nicole has a great manicure right now. Manicures are back.
Oh, darn it. Okay. Thank God.
Okay.
Thank God. Hold on. Let me just get back in the crib here.
I love your Sagittarius.
Hold on. I can't hear
you. Okay.
All right. I'm back.
I said, I love your Sagittarius shirt.
Oh, thank you. I wore it special for this. From Psychic Sister.
I have the Aquarius one and I love it very much.
I also have the Capricorn one, which is controversial in our house because I live with a sun sign Capricorn who doesn't completely believe that I get to claim as much Capricorn as I do.
So she thinks you're like the Rachel Dolezal of the Zodiac.
She does think I'm the Rachel Dolezal of the Zodiac.
She thinks you're a poser.
She does.
But there's, you know, there's a way of thinking about astrology that like you are what the biggest influence in your chart is. And there's a way of thinking about sun sign astrology as sort of like Western and patriarchal. And like the sun is just one of many influences in your chart. And it is a strong one, but it can be also overpowered by other influences. Think of all those people that are like, I'm a Cancer, but I don't seem anything like a Cancer. And it's like, yeah, bitch, because you got everything in Gemini and you're cuckoo, you know?
Yeah. I I it's very easy if people are looking for their charts to just go to astro.com,
Yeah.
put in all your info, put in all your crushes info, whatever you want to do. To me, I think that sometimes it will curse a relationship, but because then you're reading into things that you don't actually know yet about
Right.
them, or you don't know how they've integrated those parts of themselves, or whether or not
Totally.
they're evolved part of their sign or an unevolved part of their sign. So you might be attributing good or bad qualities to them based on what you read on astro.com.
This is so
But if you go
true.
to astro.com, you can put in your birthday, call your mom, get your birth sign or your birth time, and you can get this full chart. So you can see like if like 4,000 planets are in Capricorn, but you're a Sagittarius,
Like
then maybe
might as well be a Cap.
it may as well be a Cap.
Listen, I went lipstick shopping with you yesterday, and you do not lipstick shop like a Sagittarius.
Tell me more.
I
Well,
feel
what
like
is Sagittarius?
I feel like I have majority Sagittarius influences in my chart, and I feel like I lipstick shop like a Sagittarius. Something bright catches my eye and I grab it and I'm done. But you were just like, your hands were fully striped with various shades of rose. Like you were really inspecting, testing out, thinking hard about, because you knew what you wanted and you were looking for it. And it was serious and you put a lot of work into it and you emerged with some fantastic lipstick. You look great.
Right. Thank you very much.
Excellent.
I put on lipstick and eyebrows for you 3 minutes before I started the Zoom, just for your benefit.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry I don't have makeup on. I just had to walk my child to school.
Well, you look incredible for people who can't see. You're wearing
just my ring light.
Your leopard turtleneck with your necklaces and your wonderful haircut and your ring
Thank you.
light.
You know what I realized the other day? I was wearing a turtleneck and my bangs were really greasy. And I was like, oh, who do I look like right now? And I was like, oh my God, I look like Shelley Duvall in The Shining. Like greasy hair. I think I looked a little like weathered, like maybe it had been a hard day as a parent. And I was wearing a turtleneck and I was like, I just look like my husband's going to put an axe through the wall at me.
What an honor.
Thank you. I felt like good that I even recognized it,
There's a wonderful article. What? Semi-wonderful art. I mean, it's an interesting article. I wish I could have gone deeper in certain ways, but I understand the person was limited. But Shelley Duvall is living in Texas in a small town in relative obscurity. And someone recently did an article about her. You can Google it so easily. There's some man on Instagram named Cat Father or Cat Daddy.
It's Cat Power Man 5,000.
I don't know.
Cat Power Man 500, and he is the best. And everyone should follow Cat Power Man 500.
Is he a gay man with lots of different pictures of cats? He's doing a documentary about Shelley Duvall.
Okay, never mind. You still should follow Cat Power Man 500. He's just a gay man meme machine. He's like a queer meme machine who posts a lot about Britney Spears, not cats. Okay.
This is a different man. But he's doing a documentary about her, and
that's so cool.
Just check it out. I mean, she's lived in obscurity for a long time, and the article kind of goes into that and talks about her career trajectory. But I think actually talking to her was harder to get information. Like I think she met him in a parking lot in her hoarder car. Like she really does a lot of business out of her car, which is just full to the brim with stuff. Like I can't remember. There was something that's like was it like a sandwich on her dashboard? I mean, something I would do, but
yeah, she's done.
Yeah. She's living a different kind of life. I want you to know, side note, before people are on the edge of their seats wanting to know what we thought of this caveman coffee, cave them coffee. That's what they should, to me, that would be revolutionary if they called it cave them coffee.
That would be next level.
But on the pod for relative fiction, I just had to record a line about how my friends playfully call me a food hoarder.
Oh,
because I will, I want you to know, I wish that you were there. I tried to put a literal pizza crust back in the box for Kaya to eat later. And she was like, no. I ate the top off the pizza and then I was going to put the entire the entire slice minus the toppings back in the box. And I was like, for
Just
our
like a
family.
wet little doughy triangle. It's like all wet and soggy. Oh no, that would never be good to eat.
Well, it was a cornmeal crust pizza. So it was very
Oh, please
robust.
don't try to explain yourself. It's still it's still wrong.
But I said, for our family. And she was like, I don't want that. What's the matter with you?
He was like, go back to your crib. Think about what you've done.
That's what old habits die hard. People have asked me, they're like, did you grow up in the Depression? Like, are you reincarnated or something? Like, I'm like chewing on a belt in a corner somewhere. No.
Oh my gosh. I think we've talked before on Sagittarian Matters about how you would always claim your one little seat in the Sister Spit van and it would become your like rabbit warren of just like all your little things, your hoodie, and then your little bandana would be shoved in the seat that you would cover your eyes with to take your regular nap in the van that you would regularly take. And then under your seat were like just like food cartons with just like whatever your leftovers were. And it did turn against you at some point, as all knew it would. You did eventually get food poisoning in New York City.
Well, that was from a vegan
Remember?
restaurant in New York City with a very low health score.
Oh,
I had been warned.
So that was
I had been warned by a friend.
Joke's on me. Well, good for you.
I had been warned by a friend, don't go to this place. And I was like, oh, give me a break. And I, a month into tour, 3 weeks into tour, you're looking for something good. And so I just got like so much vegan mac and cheese and a milkshake and vegan fried chicken and all this stuff. And then I hurled so hard. And then friend to the show, Katie Davidson, ate my leftovers, disbelieving.
Why did you have leftovers?
Well, they were in the fridge because I had gotten home from the restaurant, put them in the fridge, and then got sick. Katie ate the leftovers, disbelieving that I was barfing from the food. And then, you know what happened a day later?
Barf. Oh, Barf. God. This is terrible. Thankfully, not that many illnesses have happened on tour.
Knock on wood.
Terrible place to be. I mean, some have actually, but that's another podcast.
Okay.
Anyway, I found the Paleo Verde left me ultimately with some dry mouth that I didn't appreciate.
Do you give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down or a thumb side?
I think I give it a thumbs side. I feel neutral about it. I don't think it's a bad product by any means. There's a lot about it that I was intrigued by and enjoyed. I could imagine being in some weird situation at some point and finding it in like a 7-Eleven and being like, oh, that guy, maybe I'll grab it. But I don't know, because I really I have studied the effects of Red Bull on my system. So I now got it down. Like I know what kind of Red Bull affects me in what way. And so it's so tried and true with Red Bull. I think I would maybe go with the Red Bull. And it's certainly, I can't imagine it replacing coffee itself. It's more like it would replace an energy drink. That's my thought on it.
I could study it more, I guess, because I do have a case of it.
Yeah, you got a lot of time.
I got plenty of time, but I don't trust it. It's the caffeine element. The taste, wonderful. I would be happy to drink the flavor of this. I wish the caffeine hit me in a way I'm used to. I understand that maybe that's not the reason for the season. And so the people who make this are listening and they're like, you did it. You missed the whole point.
Yeah, no, we might be missing the entire point.
We're missing the entire point of green coffee, I think.
I mean, here's the other thing. It's like, I'm kind of a trash can. Like I often feel like maybe like the more subtle energies of life and of like the more subtle offerings of like the body, mind, spirit world, just like I can't feel them. Like I need to be clobbered.
Like a cave person.
Like a true cave person. I need to be clobbered with like charred and oily coffee beans that get run through like an old plastic Mr. Coffee, which is what I'm drinking right now. So yeah, I think that maybe like for some little sprite, some little Venice Beach yoga sprite who like doesn't eat food very often and just like dabbles in matcha, like maybe this would be like a great intro to coffee for them.
Mm-hmm. Or somebody who's trying to wean themselves off of coffee or do something like clean and green and
Yeah,
So I'm giving it
exactly.
a confused thumb.
My thumb is confused also. You know whose thumb was not confused was my boyfriend TJ Payne. He said that it tasted like specialty healthy sparkling water,
Oh,
and that the it had that to him it had the aftertaste of very, very watered down iced coffee. It's worth mentioning he is a connoisseur of iced coffee.
okay.
He's a big coffee head as well, and he really likes black iced coffee.
How
So
did he feel about the
he says,
effects?
I don't think he really drank enough because he found it so distasteful. And I quote, I think the drink in general is unpleasant. So that's what he said. And he also said, it's definitely not something I would want to drink when I wake up.
Oh no.
Because we were talking about like, what is this? You know, is this coffee or is it like a soda energy drink sort of deal? And I come down firmly on it's an energy drink and not a coffee drink, even though it's made of coffee.
I wonder if I tried it in the afternoon with an espresso and then I had this as an energy drink. What would I run through a wall like Kool-Aid Man?
Yeah, I would be worried about the physical effects on you, but it seems like maybe that would taste really good, actually, as we've talked about
Hmm.
enjoying caffeinated coffee, like real burnt roasted coffee drinks. Ooh, do you know what is amazing? I
What?
worked with someone once who turned me on to this weird drink, espresso and Coca Cola iced.
Ooh.
It's actually amazing. There's a couple coffee shops in Los Angeles that like it's on their menu.
Oh, well,
And
I've enjoyed a coffee cola from the Red E in Portland, Oregon before. They
oh,
have their
yeah.
own coffee cola on site. I would be happy to try this.
Yeah, I really found it all the things caffeinated in a way that my body understood and appreciated, refreshing and tasty.
Do you
Especially get a
remember when
Mexican Coke on it. Forget it. So yummy.
Oh, delicious. Do you remember when I first moved here and we met at a fancy hotel a friend was staying at and you tried to order civet coffee, which is the coffee that has passed through the gut of a civet cat and been pooped
Yes.
out and then somehow put through Mr. Coffee?
Yes, I do remember this. And I've been looking to try Civet Coffee for like a decade, I think now. Although recently I just read about it. It's actually like so bad for the civets. Because
Oh,
when I first read about it, I'm just like, oh, wild civets are just roaming the coffee farm, eating beans, pooping them out. Like, but in fact, they're caged and made to eat
mm.
this. It's not good for the civet. So you
Why
shouldn't.
turn coffee into an opportunity for factory farming or
I
for like
Yeah,
animal herding?
yeah, absolutely. So, don't drink civet coffee unless, I don't know, you talk to the manufacturer and they tell you something different than what I'm telling you. It seems like it's very bad.
Just
But
feed your cat coffee beans. Go to the litter box. Get the litter
shake
scoop.
that litter.
Michelle, we have some advice questions.
Oh, cool.
So I thank the people that sent me this coffee. I'm not sure I understand it. I think I'm doing it wrong.
Yeah.
If
But
anyone has a
good on you for flying your coffee freak flag high,
yeah. Oh
being
yeah.
coffee outliers, trying
Oh,
something new, being entrepreneurs.
and I'm happy for the non-gendered cave person.
Yeah, always.
Dear Nicole and Michelle, do you have any tips about friendship breakups? Do you have any advice about friendship breakups? Basically, I asked people to tell me questions, but also just topics they wanted us to talk about. And so friendship breakups was one,
Oh,
and then there was a sad face made out of some dots and a parentheses.
I think friendship breakups don't get as much attention in our culture as they deserve for how really heartbreaking and traumatizing and life-changing they can be. They can alter the course of your life every bit as much as a romantic, partner breakup, I think.
I think, and sometimes even more because they can haunt you because in the culture there's kind of the way pet death there's not like a grief setup. There's not already an infrastructure for there's like, oh, a human died. Here's how you grieve that. We can all
Right.
understand how to support you through that. And here's the steps it generally goes through. With
Yeah.
pet death, there's not necessarily that kind of infrastructure of people understanding how to act towards you. And the same thing with friend breakups versus romantic breakups.
Yeah, I agree completely. Completely. I mean, I've definitely had I've had friend breakups that were temporary and then we got back together. You
Hmm.
know, that's mostly been my experience. I've had that with a couple people in my life who I really love, and I love that they're in my life. Um, and then I had a friend break up that really ended the friendship. But I think the friendship needed to end. You know, it's just like a relationship. It's like a toxic friendship is bad. Maybe it's not just as a toxic relationship, just because you don't necessarily spend as much time in it. But yeah. Hmm.
It.
Me and you have never had a breakup.
No, thank God. We've been friends for a long time.
I know we
We've been
really
friends.
have.
We've been
It's
friends
really
since I think
cool.
2002.
Yeah, when I went on that horrible tour and you kindly let us all sleep at your house, even though we were strangers, and the tour was filled with cisgendered white men. What was I doing besides bottoming out on alcohol?
I don't know, but I remember I literally was like, well, there's plenty of space at my house, and I meant floor space next to a ferret cage.
You did. I remember somebody slept on your front Portland porch in like a soggy, like thrift store love seat or
Oh,
something.
that tracks. That tracks. I remember somebody was like, "Oh my God, your dog Beja is so cute," and somebody else was like, "I don't think she's that cute," and I was like, "Are you? Can you just
Who
please?"
would say something like that? My God, now I'm gonna rack my brain. Like which sociopath on that tour would say such a thing?
A grouchy lesbian.
Yeah. Oh my
Um,
God.
Friend breakups. I don't know what to say except, I guess sometimes there's somebody who's not a fit anymore. And so then like you're understanding like, okay, maybe we're just not meant to be friends anymore. And it's okay for relationships to have a life cycle. It doesn't mean anyone
Yeah.
failed. It doesn't mean anyone did anything wrong. It just means that was the life cycle of that relationship. And now,
Hmm.
you know, you've learned, maybe you've outgrown each other.
Yeah.
Maybe that person doesn't give you what you need or, whatever. And so then that's for the best. But that's different than the kind of like, oh, we had a fight sort of
Right.
thing, where then maybe there's an opportunity later, and nothing needs to happen in a rush. There's no rush. Maybe there's the time later after some healing or reflection or something to see if you want to approach it again.
That's really true. I mean, like, you know, I had one friend falling out that, oh gosh, maybe it lasted like a year or something. This is like one of my closest friends, you know? And it just was like, I feel when I think about it, I'm just like, we just needed space from each other. I feel like sometimes even like beautiful friendships, like I feel like we both our situation was we both sort of experienced devastating breakups at the same time. And I think it became a little bit of like a misery loves company folie à deux sort of
Mhm.
like, you know, toxic exchange instead of like a healthy friendship. And now I feel like we have a very healthy friendship and we're maybe both in a healthier place.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, me, I like it too. It's a happy ending for sure.
I mean, it's also like I don't, and I know different people. I should just say this, like, people burn bridges in different ways. I try not to burn it down as I'm walking out the door of anything if I
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
And I think that that's helpful. Like having a graceful exit, or even just like I don't want to talk to you right now for XYZ reason, or just
Mhm.
like you're downgraded to acquaintance. Not telling them that. But just uh, I mean, I think that the advice we're giving maybe is a little bit, you know, from the perspective that you haven't completely burned down their life.
Yeah.
And then you're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
let's be friends again. I went to therapy." Um,
Right. I mean, gosh, you might have to think like, do I need to make an amends here? You know? And I don't know, in my situation, I didn't quite think I needed to make an amends necessarily. I mean, I think it was like a weird, I don't know if it was complicated or vague, like the root of our you know, conflict, but it didn't feel like either one of us necessarily needed to apologize. But I think just the fact that we were in different places and I think we both learned a lot, not necessarily from our falling out, but just learned a lot from where we were at during that time period,
mhm.
that we're kind of different people. And I can't imagine we'd find ourselves in that situation again.
Yeah.
I don't know that if that makes any sense. I'm being very vague, but
Oh, it does. But
mhm.
I think it makes a difference if you want to be someone's friend again. to make some kind of amends or to acknowledge what your part in it was
Yeah.
if you guys broke up, because probably the discomfort wasn't just one-sided.
Yeah,
I mean,
totally.
there's parts of my life where I was going through a hard time and then somebody really rubbed me the wrong way and I was just like, get out of here. And
Yeah.
then later, years later, like with therapy or time or whatever, we've been able to be like, oh gosh, I'm sorry. I was probably such a huge asshole because here's what was going on for me. And then the
Right.
person be like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that was going on for you.
Yeah.
And yes, you were a huge asshole. And here we are.
Yeah. Totally. Totally. Yeah,
So,
and sometimes and sometimes you're like, oh, like I don't know, like I had a friend falling out, that felt sort of like like something happened that felt a little bit like a betrayal. I don't think they saw it like that, but that's how it registered to me, and it made me realize that like I'd actually been sustaining so many bad feelings from the friendship for so long, but just sort of like trying to push past it because I also cared about this person and enjoyed them in so many other ways, and even though this sort of toxic vibe would rear its head a lot, I would just push through it and try to like them for who they are, etc. And so then when this sort of betrayal thing happened, I was like, oh my God, like I've been actually like giving you the benefit of the doubt and like trying to work with it, like, but actually, no, why was I doing this? Is a better friendship that it's better gone, perhaps,
yeah.
So sometimes it can be great and frees up room for more and different friends.
Yeah. Well, that's our hot take. Michelle, are you okay to talk until 10?
Yes, and then I have to do an interview with like a collection of recovery centers about
Ooh.
my dubious sobriety. Yes,
Will you just let me know when you need to get off the horn?
I will. Let
Because
me.
we talked longer about coffee than I imagined.
Ha. Yes. Yeah, 10 o'clock. I gotta go. So I got like 15 minutes or so.
Okay. Dear Nicole and Michelle, how do I get back to focusing on my own projects after months of heavy caregiving from Caregiving in Calgary?
Whoa, that's intense. I mean, the first thing I guess I would do is almost like a purging ritual, like maybe a magical bath. Um, if you have access to a bath, you can even do a shower. I feel like showers don't get as much play for like magical ritual, but honestly, the hitting of the water droplets in your shower creates um an ionic environment that is not dissimilar to a waterfall or waves breaking on rocks. So it's actually nice and good vibey. So get yourself in some water and do some visualization and like appreciate yourself for all your caringness and just like wash it away and be like, now it's time for me to put that care energy and those care vibes on myself. And I'm going to do that by being productive with the projects that are meaningful to me. Um, and hopefully you're no longer in the caregiving experience. Is it behind you? Do you need to wait a couple months and then maybe look back and do a little inventory? Like, should you have had different boundaries? If you are asked to care for people again, as we all do periodically through our lives, how can you structure that differently for yourself so that it's not so self-sacrificing? Because that never really helps anybody.
Mm-hmm. Um, Friend to the show, Beth Pickens, who has a new book,
Yes,
you
it's so
know,
good.
has such a beautiful thing to say at the end of her book, which is basically like the gist, which I'm probably going to injure. It's basically like, your art never leaves you. Things will take you away from your art. Life will get in the way, but your art will always still be there whenever you're willing to access it.
I think that is so true. And it does get seasoned by these other non-art things that we do, even things that are unpleasant or things that we regret or wish we hadn't done. Like it doesn't matter because it's still experience and it just flavors your take. And that comes through in your art. So I feel like one thing that's really lucky is as a creative person, nothing is lost, nothing is for nothing. It all goes into that mysterious inspiration pot.
Mm-hmm. And if you need something very practical, just decide ahead of time, okay, what 20 minutes tomorrow will I spend on my project? And just set a timer. And it could be before everyone wakes up, or it could be in the middle of the day, whatever. Just like, okay, I'm just going to set a timer for 10 minutes or for 20 minutes. and then just see how that goes. I feel like like I know a cartoonist, I think it was Gene Yang, who has a bunch of kids and then was a high school teacher, and he worked on
Wow.
his graphic novel 15 minutes every morning before work. And you know what? That's better than nothing.
It is
That's
better
better than
than
0 minutes.
nothing. Yeah, I mean that moves you towards a first draft, a shitty first draft that you can then edit. You can't do anything without that shitty first draft. You write 1 page a day, you have more than enough pages for a book at the end of a year, which is a totally adequate amount of time to be spending on a book, writing a book.
Yeah, you mean not a month? Not a single month. Do you have anything to say about zines, Michelle? This has been
I
coming up
love
lately.
them. Is there a zine renaissance happening?
I think there's a zine renaissance happening. I wonder if people are realizing that their mode of self-expression on the internet is just a capitalist tool from people to make you a consumer who's
Right.
willing to sell yourself. And so people are maybe relying or like thinking a little bit more about zines as a form of self-expression.
It's so great. Like I feel like zines have always been a reaction against capitalism in a mainstream, and it's really interesting to see the way that like it maintains that in a totally different sort of capitalist environment. Like the world is so different now than like in the 90s, you know, when I experienced a zine explosion. But it still serves the same purpose.
I think it's important for people to think about, the places where you connect with your friends and express yourself, if it's Instagram or TikTok or whatever, just remember that's owned by a corporation. Those people are selling your shit. They want you to come on there to express yourself so then they can sell it. So think about the purest form of expression you can that no one can shut you down for if you violate their codes of ethics. Um, I love zines.
It's
Dear
really a
Michelle,
zine. Yeah. Yeah.
why do some Sagittarians love bomb and then ghost?
They just feel like they get so scared of anyone putting their little claws in them. They fear getting wifed and never being able to love bomb another. They've got so many love bombs in them that they have to move on and toss the next bomb. It's unfortunate for everyone, you know. Eventually, I think the high of love bombing does run its course, and the love bombing Sagittarius will take a long, cold, hard look at themselves for maybe a year or so before they go back out and do it all over again. But yeah, I as a Sagittarian occasional love bomber, I know that the times I have fled, it's been like, oh God, like I can feel that this is going to grow in a direction that I don't want that. And then I run away.
Yeah.
Ideally you communicate as about it as you get older, but what do you think as a Sagittarian love bomber?
I feel lucky to have so much Capricorn
Right?
weighing me down.
Truth, I have Venus in Capricorn too, so I have had some LTRs.
Yeah, I have a lot of romantic placements in Capricorn and emotional placements in Capricorn. So I feel a little more grounded by it. But Sagittarians love love.
Yeah, the
They
adventure
really
of it.
they love the adventure of it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if anyone's ghosted you. And I want you to
Yeah.
remember there's also like the evolved version of a sign and the non-evolved version of a sign. So maybe you love Sagittarius energy, but a younger Sagittarius, younger in their thing, is going to
Yeah.
ghost, is not going to be able to communicate. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think maybe the best you can ask for is a Sagittarius that's like a little more weathered
That like has figured that out about themselves.
and knows how to
And
communicate what they want or don't want out of a thing so that you
yeah.
don't get tricked. Because that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want them to love bomb you. You're like, oh my God, are we getting married? And then they're like, oh, yoink. And they, get out of there. Like, you want a
Yeah.
Sagittarius who can say, here's what I'm here for with this situation.
Yeah. We're gonna go hard and fast for about 4.5 months.
And then
And then suddenly
I gotta go.
elsewhere, there's gonna be a distant look in my eye.
But I mean, there are many Sagittarians that are married. There are many Sagittarians that are in long-term relationships, that are in committed relationships. And it's just like,
My grandfather.
Mhm. Oh, you're frozen a little bit.
I froze.
Did me
Ah,
me
damn it.
too. But it's just, also like what's Sagittarius needs something exciting in their life. What's exciting in their life? You know? How do they feel like they can get that exciting energy out? And it doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily have to be through love addiction. Or like,
Totally. Like at some point you grow up and you're like, oh, it's on me to make my own fun, Like I can't be looking to like use other people for their electricity. It's like unfair.
yeah, you can Sagittarius who knows how to make their own electricity, who knows how to do their own arrow sharpening. Dear Nicole and Michelle, how do I deal with being jealous of people who already got the vaccine? I hate feeling that from Jealous in Jersey.
I think that you should listen to the Yoko Ono and Cat Power song. Oh God, what is it called now? Hold on. It's like one of my favorite songs, if not my favorite song in the whole world, but now I can't remember it because I need more coffee. Why don't you talk while give your advice while I look for this?
How do you deal? You just have to know, wish them the best. Be glad that they're not going to get hospitalized for COVID because you probably know them and love them and you don't want them to be intubated. And know that it's coming to you. It is coming your way. You are going to get it. Be patient just a little bit longer. My productivity coach, Alec Longsworth, likes to tell me that, like, the last 10% takes 90% of the effort. More people die going down Mount Everest than going up Mount Everest. And so if you're in the final throes of something, be it a project, be it a pandemic, you have to hang on a little bit longer to stick the landing.
And then also listen to Yoko Ono and Cat Power's song called Revelations. It's like a beautiful prayer, and it's like it asks you to like think differently about your own negative emotions and see them as sort of holy and self-protective and available to be transmuted into an emotion that you can get behind, that you enjoy more. So it's okay to be jealous. Just have a sense of humor about it, Like, what are you going to do? Like, bum rush a clinic and like throw some elbows at some seniors? Like, you're not going to do anything. You're just going to feel uncomfortable. Just going to sit with your uncomfortable feelings. Like, it's just emblematic of what you've been through and what we've all been through this year and how badly we want to get on with our lives.
Yeah. Have your last hurrah with takeout. Whatever your weird pandemic kind of thing that you've cultivated for yourself, have a last hurrah with it because you know that your time's coming up. Maybe you have an appointment by the time you're hearing this podcast.
Right.
Like, okay, what's the last kind of like cave person things I want to do in my house before I'm actually able to leave?
Right. Maybe you just, for me, it's like, that means I would just like binge the entirety of Schitt's Creek while eating boxes of Tony's Chocolonely and boxes of popsicles.
Yeah,
that's what I would do.
You're sending pandemic off, hopefully with a flourish. Michelle, thank you for coming on the podcast.
I love this podcast. I love you, and I love coming on it.
I love you too. You are our first guest. You are our very first guest.
God, what an honor!
It's the honor is mine. Especially with so much Sagittarius placement in your chart.
I know. All
right, I'm going to stop recording.
Okay.
Stop recording.